All right, so I'm kind of taking the video hostage for a minute so that I get to ask some questions. So, on our way up here, I got asked the question a couple dozen times. Can I step here? Am I okay here? What made you feel like that was necessary, out of curiosity, on the way in? This is before we even seen any snakes.
Just the common, that snake's poisonous and that snake can kill you, and everyone has that same mentality, and you kind of touched on it earlier. That was my thought process. Right. You said, you know, yeah, these things can bite you, but that was my original thought is, yeah, it's a snake, it's going to want to bite me, and I just want to make sure I was stepping where John was.
Okay. And how did you guys feel about coming in here?
I was definitely nervous at first. I know I was excited, but again, nervous because it's rattlesnakes, you know.
Yeah.
They have a bad rap sometimes, so.
Yeah.
But there's definitely you learn a lot. Thanks to John, he taught us a lot, and definitely learn a lot being around them, handling them. Mm-hmm. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to bite you. They want to get away. But it was definitely a good learning experience for all of us, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. We learned what to look for.
When we came up on one of our first really good-looking spots, I turned around and I told everybody to hush. And I got 3 very strange looks. Mm-hmm. Now, were you guys surprised when we first came out, before we even got out onto the rocks, the snakes were already trying to get to cover?
Yeah.
Especially that very first
one. Yeah.
The first one trying to duck in?
Well, the first one rattled before it let us know it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have spotted that one underneath the rocks.
It was in the rocks.
Underneath the cavern, yeah.
What's the takeaway from this?
It's fun.
It's fun.
It is.
Yeah, you were nervous to even touch a snake. So you got to touch a snake. Is that the first time you've touched a snake on purpose?
No.
Okay. Was that the first time you've touched a rattlesnake on purpose?
Yes.
Well, explain that. How'd that feel?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, at least coming with you. I mean, it's always dangerous, but I feel a lot safer with you teaching us the proper ways to do it.
Yep.
For sure.
They don't want to hurt you.
Yeah, they're cowards first, second, and third. You really have to back them into a corner to get it. And a lot of times, regrettably, even people who get bit will tell you, I deserved it. And it's no different than people when you always watch those videos of people that got attacked by grizzly bears or something like that, and then they always ask the question, how do you feel about grizzly bears now? And everybody has the same type of respect that they now give that creature. Like, that's their home. Like, we went into their home and invaded their space, and they let us know that that wasn't okay. Mm-hmm. And with rattlesnakes, they take that even a step further, that they'll still back down from you. And I think that's something that people don't really get to see. Regrettably, a lot of times when people find a rattlesnake, people that aren't up here looking for them, when you find a rattlesnake, it's because it was in the camp yard, or it's up at the cabin and stuff like that, and the snake doesn't have anywhere to get away to. Or you find it on the trail and it's stuck out in the open and you found it exposed. But judging all rattlesnakes based on how they act on the middle of a logging road is kind of like judging deer on how they act when they're on the middle of the highway. That is not typical deer behavior, to stand still and watch danger come towards it. And same thing with rattlesnakes. They really try very hard to get away from you, and it's frustrating as somebody who hunts them and takes a look at them up close and personal and measures them and documents everything. It's really frustrating sometimes when you get snakes that just don't want to be around you. Yeah. They just want to get away. And I'm glad I was able to share that with you guys.
No, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there any big takeaways, like if we were going to do this again, all right, besides pick an easier hike, if we were going to do this again, what is the one thing that you guys could do differently? What would it be?
Not to say be confident, but be more confident. Just trust my instincts. Let the hunting kind of take over. If you're a snake, where would you want to be?
Yeah. And
just kind of when you're approaching an area where you think that they're at, yeah, like you said, kind of quiet down. Try not to startle them, and that's what I would take away.
Yeah, it's all a pattern. They exist on these islands of perfect habitat, and every once in a while they cross from one island to the next, and that's typically where they run into people. Road hits, logging roads, cabins, stuff like that. But these islands that I call them, because they're high in elevation, they're rocky outcrops, they're south facing slopes. You got a checklist that you got to go through, and that's where their happy place is. So yeah, and the more calm you are with them, the more calm they are with you. If you're twitchy, shaking, and anytime we'd hand one over, it'd start to rattle again. Like we would get it to the point where it would calm down. You hand it to somebody else, and now we got a problem for the next minute or so, and then it calms down. But yeah, again, I appreciate you guys coming out and keeping an open mind about it.
Well, thank you for letting me keep one. Yeah,
for guiding us,
yeah, no problem.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
I always get a lot of questions as to where'd you find that. The most I ever narrow it down typically is county. And just understand, if you go on the internet, Google's a wonderful thing. You can find where rattlesnakes are. And if you're watching this and you're in Pennsylvania, you're pretty much in rattlesnake country. Anytime you walk outside, it's just, you have to find those islands of habitat. This is something that can be done by anybody in our state. You're never more than an hour drive away from rattlesnakes. But if you go and do it, look for people who have been doing this for a long time. I could name drop right now.
Yeah,
there are some really, really, really educated guys that I respect more than I can even say. Alan Hildebrand is one of them. Carl Miller is another. Those guys, if you look us up, I have a Facebook group that you guys can look us up at.
Yeah.
You guys can join in the group. It's Keystone Rattlesnakes. Those guys are on there. They're wealths of knowledge. And the way that you guys learned a lot from me, I learned a lot from them. I really respect their opinions on the matter. And find somebody who knows what they're talking about and has been around it for a while, because what you'll find with anybody who does this on a regular basis is just an overwhelming amount of respect for these animals. And they are fascinating creatures once you get to know them.